All right, welcome back everybody to more SWGOH Shorts. This time we're going to take a different approach. So I've had a series of videos, 6 episodes so far, talking about different discussions on the topic of guilds. And today I'm inviting a recruiter from a guild, and actually one of the guilds that reached out to me. And we're going to have, just a chat, to talk about, get his thoughts on, guild activities, recruiting, how to sell yourself. So um, please welcome StonesJoe from Empire of Dis0rder. So he's joining me now here live on the well, it's not a stream, on the video. But Joe, or Stones, if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, tell us a little about yourself as a player in SWGOH.
Yeah. Hey. Yeah. I've been playing this game since 2018, like early 2018, and started out as one of those things that I downloaded, at the end of a night when I had a few beers, like, oh, I like Star Wars, and um and I let it sit for a couple months, and then I went on a trip with a couple of my best friends who actually were playing it, and they kind of told me a little bit more about it, and so they got me in their guild, and then shortly after, I just got really hooked onto it, and the community aspect is the thing that I have been most connected to, because that's kind of how I got into it. I would text them and talk to them about asking questions, and then ask for help. And historically, I'm not a gamer, so a lot of this stuff was new to me. Um, and and yeah, so I just got really interested in it, and then um, so connected to the community, um, curious, and then just naturally, my thought was like, okay, I'm in a guild, and we're doing all right, but how can we get better? And then those questions turned into, well, you know, let's look at other guilds, and then let's look at other players, and then I found myself just naturally trying to recruit people. Um, from the first instinct was to try to improve the guild,
Cool.
um, and and then my friends were. It was clear that they were a little bit more casual, um, and I just wanted a little bit something more. And over time, I kind of brought them with me and to another guild that was a little bit more competitive, and then that's where it really took off. Where I was surrounding myself with players that really had a great understanding of the game, and I was like, whoa, like it just opened up my eyes, because beforehand I just had there was just a lot of things that I just didn't realize about the game, and that's where I realized you have to connect yourself with the right culture and the right mindset. um, and it was also hard because I was playing with one of my best friends, and so I got a little bit of flack, like,
So,
oh, like
so I
you're,
guess what you're
yeah.
saying is like your two friends that you started with, they're not in the guild that you're in now.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, they still
Yeah.
play the
Yeah.
game though.
One of them does.
Okay,
He's yeah. He had. I actually helped him a couple times get into a guild that would suit him. I think that sometimes there is that. Um, with players that are casual who don't look into the community, that there's not as much like realistic, not as realistic about what type of fit really works. So I got him in
yeah.
a good place where he can just log on whenever he wants, whatever. My other friend quit. Like, I want to say, he did when it got. I think when Conquest was a thing, he was like, I can't do this anymore. It's too much.
No, that's something that just reminded me because in my last video that I know you just watched a bit ago, I talked about like different things that changed, and I forgot to mention Conquest. That's one that I think when Conquest came out, you also saw a lot of people start leaving the game because it was just like the amount of time you have to spend in game doing battles on Conquest every day for 2 weeks, on top
Yes.
of territory wars, territory battles. I mean, it's a lot. And then, there's quite a few people, myself included. I had an alternate account that when Conquest came, I did it for, 1 or 2 rotations with both accounts. And then I said, nah, I can't play both
Yep.
accounts. It's like too much to keep up with. So that's,
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah. You
But
took
no,
the words right out of my mouth.
I
The
think your
same thing with me.
story,
I had.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I don't know how these people play two or three or more accounts, to be honest. Like it's a full-time job. If you're again, if you probably have the mindset like us where you want to be the most competitive that you can be, like you want to be good at the game, so you're trying to do your best on all activities. It's very
Yep.
tough to to try to take a maybe a casual approach on an alt. So no,
Yeah.
I
I
think
mean,
your
that's a,
story of how you started, I mean, it's similar to mine. I picked this game up on like a Christmas vacation, sitting at the in-laws' house. I had no idea
hmm
how to play. I was terrible when I started to watch some YouTube videos, and the community is really what one has kept me playing the game for, I mean, just 2 years, so half the time that you've been playing, but the
hmm
community is, I think, what makes this game. So
Yeah.
that's cool. And a similar story, like I have, one of my roommates from college is in the game. We
hmm
haven't, I helped him get into some guilds as well, but he started a bit after me, so we're not really at the same level right now. But
Right.
it's good to help your friends, and I think maybe one of the things we'll touch on when we start talking about guilds and recruiting is if you're a player looking to move up to a higher guild. And again, if you're someone that really likes that community, you like your guild mates, it's tough. Like that decision, and is one of the reasons why I didn't join your guild is like I like my guild mates. Like I enjoy just the banter we have on Discord,
Yeah.
knowing that, I could go to a guild that performs, better than that. But just having that banter back and forth is what keeps me with them. So pretty
Yeah.
cool. So here I'm just showing on the screen for all the people watching. So this is Stones's guild, Empire of Dis0rder. Like I said, it was one of the guilds that I mentioned in the previous video. So they're just under 400 million. I think they actually have, you guys have grown like 6 or 7 million since I posted. Maybe
hmm
it's because you filled up, so is most
Yeah.
likely. Um, but super strong guild. Like you can look at the GPs, you can look at all the galactic legends they have. So yeah, so it's a pretty cool guild. But I guess two questions to start off. Thinking back to the SWGOH short series when we talk about guilds. So, what is like the one thing you would say that really stuck out as like the key point that if you're whether you're a player looking for a guild or you're a guild looking for players, what is like that key thing that you would want to maybe reiterate that stuck out to you through these videos?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure. It's about the energy. What type of energy does a player bring? And how is that going to fit with our culture? As you can see, and you point out, the fact that we have a lot of GLs and a lot of good stats, and we're incredibly proud of that. The reason we have that is because we have players who have a lot of energy, who are committed to the game and enjoy the game and enjoy being competitive, and so that's one of the things that we rely on. It was like, we have to bring someone that's going to be able to withstand, the the passion that we have. We don't want anyone to come in and feel like they're not enjoying the game.
Yeah.
So it's got to kind of match the culture for sure, and that goes for both sides.
Yeah, no, and I think it tells, like, again, just looking at the people in your guild, pretty much would say 90% of them are all in Kyber when it comes to Grand Arena, whether
Yeah,
they're big accounts or they're smaller accounts. So that tells you that like they are players that they're active. They want to, they might only have two Galactic Legends, but they know how to beat teams with 4 or 5 Galactic Legends. So I think that's
exactly.
cool. And like I mean, for sure, that point of having that energy or understanding what type of energy you bring, like you have to find that right fit, or both the player and the guild is just going to have a miserable time.
Yeah, yeah, and then we're going to be right back to where we started, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's definitely something that happens when we bring in a player that comes into the recruiting room and they have um, 10 like 10 mil GP and all the GOs and the fleet meta, um, but then they're quiet, or they're like they're very much like, oh, I just want to play the game. That comes out pretty clear. It's just it doesn't really gel with us because
Yeah.
we want someone and we want them to be excited. During TW, we're all on Discord. We're strategizing. We're all kind of shit talking, and we're this is one of the things that why we spend so much time during the game during playing this game is to have fun and
Yeah.
enjoy
Yeah,
it. So we want
it
someone that
sounds
can
very
fit in.
similar to my guild, and I would say the same thing. Like we've brought in players that are for us like 8 million, 8.5 million GP. You're like, oh man, this guy's for us, he's like one of the top five highest
Mm-hmm.
GP players in the guild. But then we ended up, kicking them out and replacing them with, a 5 million GP player just because they're not, you know, they're not really pulling their weight or doing what we're expecting as a guild to for where we're at. So I think
Yep.
it's super key to, and I think I hopefully I highlighted this a lot. Like GP is not the end all be all in this game. Like it's important for certain things, but at some point it's about like how well does the player know the game and really how active they are.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, that's what we. I mean, we say this all the time. In our guild that like GP is like pretty low on the list compared to
Yeah,
mods and datacrons and Grand Arena ranking too, because that obviously shows that if you're in Kyber, you're comfortable having to do some unique counters in TW, and then it's also going to give you crystal income, that's going to further your progression, which is going to further the progression of the guild. So it all ties together.
yeah. The next question, just to follow up on that, is so were there any points that you think that you want to highlight that maybe I missed in the video series? Like, what's maybe something that you think I skipped over? I know we talked a little bit about like conquest, not necessarily guild related, but anything that you felt that I missed and maybe I go back and touch on in a future video?
In terms of like specifically recruiting or things that have changed the climate of recruiting.
Maybe not, more so on like specific to recruiting or looking for a guild or where to find guilds
Yeah,
or just
yeah.
like maybe in general like as a recruiter responding to players looking or as a player like how do you expect them to maybe respond? I don't know if I touched too much on
Sure.
those points.
Yeah, I think that you did a great job. A lot of it falls in line with with the things that I look for. I mean, that's one of the reasons why I wanted to recruit you because it's you have that kind of what's important and like you have a certain focus. The type of focus that we're looking for, right? And so I think that when it comes to recruiting, that's what we're looking for. Like if somebody posts we and they give it some thought, um, that's going to translate to like this is important to me, right?
Yeah.
Like you
No, and
know,
I
um,
mean, it's good to hear, and that brought, I just want to go back and that point of, seeing a person's post looking for a guild and how they represent
mhm,
themselves.
yeah,
When I was like getting the footage and, looking through Discord, I mean, it amazed me really like the lack of information that people put, right? They just say like, "Hey, this is my GP. I have two, three Galactic Legends. Like, okay, I should get in this guild because this is what I have." And
yeah,
I mean, I thought people put more effort into it, but if you look at it, you like 80% of the people, it's really just like bare minimum. But again,
well,
from an active or competitive guild recruiting standpoint, you're gonna know kind of right away, like, hey, this person's probably not the right fit for us, right?
yeah, and you bring up a really good point, and I wanted to touch on the importance of that, like that 80% of players, we are actually looking for the 20% because a lot of those players they are looking for more straight up approach and a casual guild,
Yeah,
and there's a ton out there, and that's actually great. And those guilds are important because we want to keep the community going, and people just want to enjoy they just want to do it on their downtime, and that's perfectly fine. And I'm really glad that we have a lot of players in general.
Yeah, I mean,
But
at the
you
end of
know,
the day, it's a mobile game. You know, it's free.
yeah,
Again, the reason that you
yeah,
picked up this game in the first place, the reason that I picked up in this game was really probably just to kill time. We weren't looking
yeah,
to be super competitive players, but then because
right,
of that
right,
community, and you're like, ah, this is, I can do something with
yeah,
this, and yeah, sometimes maybe it's a bit of
yeah,
a time sink, but you can
yeah,
manage that. So it's
yeah,
you gotta have both play. I mean, you gotta have like the whales to fund the game to keep the free to play players,
yeah.
able to play as well. So
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So when I'm looking for somebody, I'm expecting that most of them are not going to be an ideal fit. And that's okay because I think that, with recruiting, you have to have a really good idea of where you're at, where your guild is at, and it's constantly changing and evolving. So you have to kind of know what's going to be the ideal player, and you have to read into what people are posting. So I do that quite a bit. So you're right. For folks that are just more, standard. Oh, I'm just looking for this. I'm looking for that. I don't leave any stone unturned. I try to communicate with folks um, and and see where they're at because they're just, some people just don't either have experience or they are introverts, and that,
yeah,
that's totally fine. So I never try to judge it straight away, but I know that in order, um, with our competitive, that we feel like we're kind of unique because a lot of the guilds that we see in TW, we can see a little bit of a difference.
yeah.
So we're not expecting a lot of people to, for us to find a lot of recruits. That's why we have to go out there and work so hard doing it. Um, not to, I know there's a lot of great guilds out there, and I'm not trying to sound, um, you know, conceited by any stretch. I'm just, sharing that, like, in
No,
order for us to
I
push in the direction.
exactly.
Yeah.
I think at your GP level, like if you're a 450 million GP guild and you post an ad, like you're gonna get a ton of people replying. Like you probably don't have to search for people because people want to join those guilds. And someone that's 9 million, 10 million GP, like those are the guilds they're looking for. But when you're under
Yeah.
400, when you're 350,
Oh
like
yeah.
yeah, you have people that still want to join your guild, but again, I
Yeah.
talked about like 3 million, 4 million GP players. Some of them are really good and maybe they would still be a good fit, but a lot of them, a lot of people just think because I'm this, I'm entitled to this high, this competitive guild. So you really have to search out those players, and again, it's going to be hard probably to find people that are 9 million GP for your guild, but you can find
Mhm.
players again that are 6 million, 6.5, and within a year they're going to be 8 million, 8.5 million. So
Yeah.
they're gonna grow with the guild.
Yeah, I mean, you could see it if you look at our profile. We definitely have a handful of players that have smaller
Yeah,
GP, and the reason is because we definitely want to look into the read the person as well, and that like I said, energy. That is super important. So you sometimes realize, like, okay, this is someone that is actually going to be a better fit,
yeah.
and
I mean, let's
rather than
just take let's just take an example of that. So here's your again. I'm showing your guild. You have Relapse here, right?
Mhm.
Relapse is 6.5 million GP. He's bottom 10. He's way under the. He's under the average. I think your average is what, like 8 million about. So he's under the
Mhm.
average GP. But just forget about looking at his GP. Forget about looking at his roster. Look, he has this
Yeah.
title, Premier Kyber Champion. So if
Yep.
anybody's watching and you remember back before November 2021 when the old Grand Arena, this means that he was like the number one person in his GP range for that season. So just,
Mhm.
again, just looking at the title, you could say, hey, this guy, like, he's super competitive. Who cares if he's 6.4? And I'm not going to click. I'm pretty sure he has 4 GLs because I know this guy. But
Yeah.
I mean, just looking at things like that, already that this is the type of player that, I mean, if he wanted, he could probably be in a 500 million GP guild. But he fits with the culture of your guild,
Mhm.
and works very well. So the next thing I want to do is I want to go over to Discord and just like show the viewers one of the ads from your guild, like how you guys wrote it, kind of what are the key points that you want to focus on. But just a
Yeah.
question here. So when you reached out to me to recruit, did you reach out like directly because you saw my ad, or did you get like, because I know a few people in your guild, right? Like Relapse, Dark Disciple, and then this Orbalist
Yeah.
guy. He's in my shard and he was in my guild as well.
Yeah.
I don't know if they like did they see my ad and posted to you, or you saw my ad first and reached out, and then they may have
Yeah. No,
chatted with you.
I saw your no, I saw your ad first, and I
Okay.
reached out directly, um, and then I think that you might have brought up that you knew someone, and then I reached out to them, and of course, got feedback, because that's what we do, right?
No,
We
and
connect with
the reason
everybody.
I
Yeah.
brought it up is, yeah,
Yeah.
the reason I brought it up
Hmm.
is because we mentioned, as a player, you get really connected to your guildmate. So it's tough to maybe leave a guild. But then at the same time, and maybe I talked about it in my last video as well, recruiting, it's you can look at the forums, you can look at Discord to recruit, but some good places to go are your arena shards, your fleet shards, because again, if you're competitive, those players that are competitive. If you're part of a Discord server, not necessarily a recruiting one, but like these guys are on Darth Loquitur's server and they're very active there. So you communicate with people and, they, you ask questions, you post, ways to, different counters. You get to know each other, and then maybe they try to recruit you to their guild. So
Yep.
that's what kind of why I brought up. So let's hop over to Discord because I just wanted
Yeah.
to show everybody. I searched and I found an ad that you posted a couple days ago, I guess 3 or 4 days ago. So this
Hmm.
is Again, this is for, let me make myself smaller on screen so people can see it. But anyway, this is for your guild. You really talk about, I don't know, I'll just let you walk us through like, why you came up with your guild ad like this.
Hmm.
It's not super long. It's kind of like hits the key points, I would say, talking about what you guys do and what you're looking for. So just kind of walk us through it.
Yeah. So first, I want to say that I have a tendency to go into a lot of depth. So I try to overcorrect myself by being concise because it's challenging because I want to go in and say so much about the guild and everything. And I feel like I understand that a lot of other people just want the 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 information, so I try to balance that. So I can do a lot more, and I also try to change it up a little bit because I try not to be that copy and paste guy, but there's an efficiency to it. But I try to change up a little bit just to make it a little bit more genuine. But yeah, so we're focused and we thrive in every game mode. I think you have a lot of specialized players that want TW and or they're either PvP players or they're PvE players. So that's important to know that we're going to challenge in both game modes. So that I want to put that in and make that clear. Again, knowing the type of play that we want, right? So yeah, we're supportive and we're competitive. We do a lot of things. The office has spent a lot of time to support our players, and then we obviously do that in the so that we're on the same page and that we can compete and win together. Um, so yeah, and then I put the stats out there. Having the stats is the best recruiting method.
Yeah.
Like the numbers don't lie, so that obviously helps
No,
us
and I think
compete.
especially when it comes, like, let's take the new TV. So you have your, 390 million GP. You guys are doing 28 stars. If you were to search for guilds in the 400 million range, I'm sure you're like higher than a lot of those. So it's good to
Yeah,
see,
and I
like, just because, again, you could
mhm.
maybe someone's like, hey, I want a 425 million GP guild that's doing 25 stars, where you would be better served by coming to a smaller GP guild because the rewards are going to actually be better because they're
Yeah,
all participating, they're all like striving to get the most out of it.
yeah, that's exactly what I say to everybody, every recruit that will listen.
So let's jump on that topic because I know it's never fun, right? Trying to like if you're chasing someone that posted their personal ad for their account, you really got
Yeah.
to jump on it like right away. So
Yes.
what what percentage of people actually reply to you? When you're talking to them. I mean, do you get a lot of people that really just like ghost you, don't reply, or
Um.
how do
Yeah.
you guys feel?
Yeah. I used. Yes. There are plenty of because they get like a ton of offers. Like
Yeah,
I mean, like in a short period of time, especially depending on how good their post is, and there are recruiters that can maybe even check if someone new comes into the on the server, and they're already on them. I think there's a lot of methods that where people do pounce. So I expect to not hear back from everyone, but I certainly I'm not shy. So I kind of I use whatever relatable um, antidote like I think
yeah,
of without being overly aggressive or annoying. So I
yeah.
try to walk that line.
No, so that's a funny. So well, you can't see my video, but the people here, I'm sitting here and I have my background. So I have a bunch of like Lego sets behind me. I'm a huge Lego fan, and one of the ways that I got in my current guild, again, I've been there for almost 2 years now in the same guild.
Hmm.
And I got in when I was like 1 million GP when the average for the guild was like, I don't know, 5 million, right? So super low.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
the name of my guild is New Heroes of Denmark. And if you know Lego, that's Denmark is like where they're headquartered at. So I was like, oh, these guys are probably Lego fans. So I can, maybe say, hey, I'm a Lego fan. Maybe they'll take me.
yep.
So I use that. And I mean, of course, most of them are Lego fan. And even not just because a lot of them are from Denmark, but so that helps. So I think that's a cool point. Like using those anecdotes, trying to relate to people. Like, yeah, stats are one thing for your account, for your guild, but if you see something that sticks out, like maybe they have an interesting, handle on Discord or the forums, that's
Hmm.
something that you can use to your advantage. And then, if you are like an active Discord community, which you mentioned you guys do a bunch of crazy things on your server. I mean, what
Yeah,
we do sometimes, we invite people just like, hey, come hang out in our server. Like maybe it'll convince
yeah,
you to join us. You guys are
yeah,
trying to do that to me, so but
yeah,
so we do the same thing. We're like, hey, just like come see our craziness, and
yeah.
then like maybe, and it's worked in the past. Like we've had people that again, big accounts where they're just like, okay, like yeah, it's a lateral move for me, but the community is like way better here. So no, that's
Yeah.
what that's cool. So obviously you're posting here on Discord again. I'm choosing Arnold
Hmm.
server just because I
Hmm.
think it probably has the most eyes on it as far as uh, players. So it's a good
Yeah.
place to recruit. Where else are you guys? Are you posting kind of like across all Discord servers for recruiting? Is there
Yeah.
specific ones you get? I don't know if you want to tell me like specific ones you get the best results because then other recruiters might, steal those secrets. But
No, I mean it's common. I think it's common knowledge. Like, I don't know all of them, but between myself and our GL and the other officers, we're pretty connected. Um, so we do get it out. I'm not the only one that does the recruiting.
okay,
Yeah. So we have Moist, one of the other officers, and then our GL, Catastrophic. Call him Cat. He's always out and about. So
okay.
so
No,
we
I think,
we're
and I think that's
yeah,
like super necessary. Like you can't have one person doing all the recruiting. I think in our guild we have one person that their main officer job is to recruit, but then everybody kind of helps out when they can. So
yeah,
it'll
yeah.
it'll drive like
Um,
one person insane trying to do it.
yeah, it's a lot to handle. Yeah, so we pump it out through a lot of the servers. I sometimes forget what their names are because they're just an icon and
Nah, I
but
don't. I just know that like, I have this folder and like everything I dumped in this folder is pretty much like a recruiting server. So,
yeah,
um, yeah.
yeah, yeah. So and then I do some Facebook. Um,
Okay.
I don't usually have a ton of success on Facebook. We had brought a couple in, and I actually found I'm in my current guild through Facebook, so it's not. But I don't really rely on it that much because it's just hard to stand out in
Yeah.
Facebook.
No, and I
But
think me personally, I never post there to recruit, but some of the other people from my guild do. And like from my alliance, they post there a lot. And I would say we probably get the most people coming to the alliance like recruiting server are coming through Facebook. So I think it's not
okay,
something to be overlooked. And I maybe I like mentioned it in a video in the past, but because I don't personally post the ads there, I didn't show it. But I think it's something not to be overlooked because yeah, there's a lot of people that are out there with that have Facebook obviously, and apparently there's a lot of people looking for guilds there.
hmm yeah, right. Yeah, no, I just try to keep it open. Yeah, and yeah, so I try to pump these out on Discord. It just depends what type of situation we're in with needing recruits. Um, if we have like a true open space, I tend to do it at least daily. Um, and I'm a little bit more on top of things and trying to work out the angles to get someone in. Um, a lot of our recruiting lately, because of where we are in the game, where the guild is at, a lot of our recruits, like you said really well, are from word of mouth, are from
Yeah.
former guildies, shard members, all this stuff, and we're kind of associated with some of the other some other end game players, and unfortunately, a lot of at this level, a lot of the more competitive guilds, they disband, and then so we sometimes
Yeah.
get other players from really competitive guilds that still want to be competitive, um, or they want to take like a small step back, but
Yeah,
um,
when that
most
happens, like let's say that because it's happened, for us as well, like guilds disbanding, it's from a recruiter perspective, it's great because there's usually a lot of people you can potentially pick up. How
yeah,
do you guys handle like let's say you get some, big fish that wants to join your guild, but you're full. Like how do you guys handle that as officers? Do you if the guild is
yeah.
performing well, do you know, pass them up or do you kick someone? Do you guys kind of have like a
No,
list of like, hey, someone is doing 90% of what we want, but if we have a better
yeah.
opportunity, we would move on. Like, how do you guys handle that?
Yeah, I mean it's always a balance, right? It's always tricky. We always try to get the player in and then figure it out later. So a lot of times what we do is because we really um, want to be loyal, and then especially if someone is they've been with the guild for a long time, we don't really have a lot of regrets if we do end up booting someone. It's because we have a lot of support in place where we're actively helping them along the way.
Yeah.
So it's never, it's always we try to be very open. Um, Quite a few of us are the East Coast guys, so we tend to be a little bit more direct. so, so it sometimes, helps in saying, no one is really shocked.
Yeah.
So if we do end up doing that, um, and we feel it's time, then we will, and we also have a lot of access to other guilds that are still good but smaller. So we can, try to find a space for them in the place
Okay.
that we already know. So we make it, we try to think of that with a lot of, a lot of genuine, we try to be very genuine with that. But we do always try to take on that account. And then the other thing that we've done quite a few times is one of the officers will step out to make room because we know, hey, someone
Someone
that is,
will. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay. No,
yeah,
that's
because we
that's
know,
that's cool. Yeah.
yeah, we try to do that. If it's going to improve the guild, I know there was one time where we had a group of of three members, that were like three people that were looking for a guild, and they were like really competitive. They were really good, and it was gonna elevate us. And I, like a volunteer, like, hey, I'll step out. Like if it's gonna improve the guild, I'll go wherever, and then I'll just get on the next spot in or whatever.
Hey, yeah,
Hello.
sorry. Can you go back like 1 minute? Somehow my headset tried to connect to my TV. So you said like you had
Yeah.
like sometime you had a group of like multiple people, I guess, coming into the guild, so you needed to make some space for a few people.
Yeah, so I stepped up and said, hey, like I saw this guy's on the server. This was before I was an officer, so I would say, hey, like these guys are coming in. I know, if we need to make room, I'll like volunteer, and you guys got me. I'm not going anywhere, but I'll just make room, make room for them so that we can get them in because I know it's going to improve the guild.
Yeah.
So that type of thing, we have folks that are connected to that degree where we'll figure it out. So yeah, so we try not to pass up anyone that we feel is going to really improve us.
Okay. And your guild, so you're part of like Disorder is like an alliance, right?
Yeah,
Or you just have
first
like kind of a sister guild.
disorder.
Yeah.
First disorder is our big brother guild.
Okay.
They're one of the more competitive guilds in the world, and we have like a mini alliance with them, and they're really great guys,
Yeah.
and they've helped us more than we've helped them, but we try to we're pretty well connected to them, and so our alliance is just up two right now.
Okay. No, that's good. I mean, it's I have thoughts on alliances. Like I think they can be good. Um, the way that my alliance works is really the whole purpose of it is just so there's like tons of people able to recruit and bring players in, and then we can decide where they go. But the
Yep.
alliances that I've seen in the past, where it's like, hey, like again, when I've been looking for a guild, you have alliances reach out to you all the time. They're like, hey, we have this alliance, like you're not really what we want in this upper tier guild right now, but we'll put you in this one. You can work your way up. Like those ones,
Yep.
I'm not a fan of, just because it's like, well, I want to be in a guild long term. I don't want to be,
Right.
someone that has to like reach a certain GP level to get promoted. So,
Yeah.
but
I'm with you.
they have their benefit. Like again, I think for casual players, those alliances are great because it's really going by your GP. They can constantly have a way to fill those guilds up. For more like
Yes.
active or competitive ones, I think it's, or like if you have, again, alliances that have different, like they have competitive guilds, they have active, they have casual. It's good when
Yeah.
like a ultra competitive player decides like, guys, like I want to keep playing this game. I've invested too much time, but maybe I need to step back as far as the amount of time that I play. So they go to, maybe an active guild. Um, so that
Yeah.
part's good because then they are still kind of part of that same community, and maybe at
hmm
some point they decide, hey, I want to go back to being competitive and go there.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely has its uses for sure, and I feel like for quantity, it's definitely great for quantity, and I think that there are a lot of good alliances out there. Me personally, I'm more of a quality. I mean, I feel like I've been in bigger alliances, and it's hard not to be anonymous, which I kind of feel like, oh, like I just feel like it's too big where
Yeah,
it's I don't it's hard for me to put myself out there if I'm talking if I'm communicating with like a sea of people,
yeah,
so that's just how I feel, and so I prefer a little bit more of an intimate
yeah. No,
approach.
it's the same. The same. I mean, we have our own guild server. We have like an alliance server. Like the people in the alliance server, they know like our guild's crazy. Like we're probably the ones that post the most, and we just like shit post over there all the time, post
Yeah,
memes. But then we
yeah,
always like, hey, like let's bring this officer from another guild, like have them join our guild server so they can see this craziness. Like so everyone like knows our guild, knows my guild on the Lion server just because of that. But then you have guilds that like you never hear from them at all, right? Like if you forget they're part of the alliance. Well, listen,
yeah,
hey
yeah,
Stones, we've gone like 40 minutes now. I think we could
yeah.
keep going. We might have to have like give me some ideas for future video series, and then I'll have you back on, right? But I think this was really fun. It was really cool, like getting
Yeah.
to talk to someone. Like, thanks for being my first interviewee on
Yeah,
the on the
my
on the
pleasure.
channel. Um,
Yeah. it's always great. It's always
Yeah.
great to talk to someone that is like minded and that it has a lot of energy. So I yeah, I appreciate you, man.
No, and I hope, again, I hope that, like, again, this video series is, I want it to be useful for players, for guilds. So, hopefully, like, your guild, they'll appreciate it. They'll appreciate kind of how you, I mean, we promoted your guild quite a bit here. So if anybody is like 10 million, they want to go to Empire of Disorder, it's a great guild. If you want to come to my guild as well, like, feel free, reach out. No, but I really appreciate coming on, taking the time to talk. Um, you
Thank
know
you.
where to find me. We're in contact on Discord. So any future
Yep.
topics that you or your guild want to talk about, if any of those guys want to come on about some other topic in the future, just let me know. But anything else you want
Great.
to leave us with? You got anything to promote out there? I mean, I promoted your
Um,
guild. You can promote it more if you want.
Yeah, no, I mean, I really, no, it didn't cross my mind. I mean, I feel like I feel like we do a lot of our, yeah, you really, help promote us, so that I really appreciate that. Yeah, we, like, I'll not, I don't have anything else to say. We're very, um, accessible. So anyone who's interested, you can, there's a link for a Discord, and we can chat. And there's just one more thing I wanted to
Yeah,
say when it comes to recruiting and chatting with people. One of the things that really helps me is that I never feel like I'm losing if I don't recruit someone, because I feel like I'm always like, I just like communicating with people. And even if someone is either, they're way above us, or they're not a great fit for us, a lot of times I'll stay in contact with them and actually even either help them get into a guild, or I'm just actually really hoping that they find a good place. So that helps me in my perspective. Like, I always appreciate just being like helping the community with just being in contact with folks. And so that I don't ever really feel like if they don't join our guild, it's not really a loss. So
yeah, no, I mean,
that always helps me.
I fully agree on that. And like, you're building these contacts, like, again, maybe they found something else, and maybe 2 weeks from now, that guild that they found isn't working out. It's not what they expect. Again, because if people are
Yeah.
going by just GP, they may pass your guild
Yep.
up for something over 400. Then they realize, like, oh,
Yep.
well, this maybe wasn't the smartest decision. Let me go reach out to that Stones guy that
Yeah.
was nice and chatting me up, and maybe they still have a fit for me. So I think it's definitely good. Discord is probably the best place to do it. It's tough to, in game is like impossible to communicate with people.
Impossible.
The
Yeah.
forums, usually
No
on the
gifts.
forums, yeah, forums, no, no gifts in game. Forums is like the people you see posting, it's like they have one post on the forum, so it's like, okay, well, um,
Yeah.
they're looking for a guild, but they're probably not someone looking for a community that's really going to like just have fun and enjoy. So Discord's the
Yep.
place. I mean, if everybody in your guild is on Discord, like, it's already a win, because you can like set commands and talk. So no,
Yep.
but yeah, thanks for joining me here.
Thank
Um,
you.
I'm
It's
gonna go
been
ahead
great.
and, yeah. So we'll touch base later and keep in contact. But for everybody watching, thanks for, hopefully you made it through this 43-minute and counting video. By far the longest one. Probably it's way longer than all the other ones combined. So sorry about that, but I think we were having a
Me
good
too.
a good discussion here. So thanks for watching. Go ahead and make sure to leave a like, hit the like button somewhere up there. Go check out the previous videos, and we will see you in the next series. Thanks.